Okay. Hello, everybody. We are live now. This is Steve from Wiz Academy or Wiz Academia, I suppose, because it's online, right? So, good evening to everybody. Okay. All right, I guess we'll just get started with it. What's new in Europe? I guess there's like a few different things that are new. Oh, hello. Okay, I guess we're finally on now. Yeah, so there's many different things that are always changing in Europe. Many different things that are always happening. Um, I think many of the countries are going into a second lockdown for coronavirus. That's probably something you already know. Death toll is going up and up and up and up in the UK and Belgium as well, actually. It just hit 10,000, I think, for number of deaths from coronavirus. Oh, hello, Keiko. Nice to see you again. It makes me happy. Always really happy to get a hello from you watching. Yeah, so that's just some side stuff. I don't want to focus on coronavirus because that's all that's on the news. So I'm like, let's stay away from that. Okay, so there are 3 different topics that I want to talk about tonight. Oh, actually, there's one that I wanted to get some extra information on, but I didn't have the time to get that extra information. Also, take my mask off. Anyways, okay. So the 2 main things we're going to talk about. Let's keep it with the 2 main, right? So firstly, we're going to talk about the UK. Oopsie. UK withdrawal agreement, aka Brexit. That's going to be our first topic for tonight. And particularly, we will be focusing on that in relation to Ireland and Northern Ireland. Something I know well because it's my home country. Yeah. Okay. Second topic for tonight, or second main topic for tonight, is Greece again. So Greece and traditional to technological. Last week we talked about the olive groves or olive gardens in Crete using AI and monitors to perfect growing of olives and make sure that your pesticides and your fertilizers and water are all used as perfectly as possible or as best as possible. Also, say hello in the chat if you have a chance. Say hello from whoever, like Keiko did. So you can say like hello from Keiko, or you can say hello from Nanami, or hello from whoever else is here, I guess. Okay, right. Let's get into it anyways. This week, let's start with UK. So this has been happening for a long time now, but the UK has actually broken international law. So what happened was they first tried to make a deal with the EU, and then the EU eventually said, okay, like this deal is okay. It's a really bad deal for the UK, but it makes sense because the EU doesn't want anyone else to leave, and also the UK leaving the EU is causing lots and lots of problems. So they're kind of doing their best to stop it. Anyways, they had this deal, they had this contract, and then the UK, after the EU and the UK both said yes, then the UK changed the contract and were like, actually, this instead. But the thing is, there is a agreement, let's say like a contract in between Northern Ireland and Ireland to get rid of the hard border. And it's called the Good Friday Agreement. And this was originally made so that they could get rid of all the violence and problems that were happening between Northern Irish Protestants and Catholics, and also with the Republic of Ireland. So, basically, this new change to the withdrawal agreement is not respecting the Good Friday Agreement. And this is an agreement that was made by the EU with both countries in the island of Ireland. And so it's kind of like the UK government and the Parliament in England does not seem to care much about like Ireland, I guess. It's like somewhere far away to them that they just don't care about. That's how they're acting anyways, right? And this Good Friday Agreement, maybe the border, the hard border along by Northern Ireland, which is, let's see if we can get my finger in the right place. There, like around that way, like right here. That's where Northern Ireland is, right there. So in that kind of area, like here, there used to be a strong, hard border. And when I say hard border, I mean a place with walls and fences where it is, there are troops or military people walking along. And that caused a lot of problems in Ireland, especially when let's say my parents would have been growing up like around that time, but not where I'm from. I'm from the countryside, never any problems like that. But my mother-in-law, so my brother's wife's mother, she was alive in Belfast during that time, and apparently it was a very difficult time to live in, very horrible place to be, lots of murder and violence and lots of crime, and everyone wants to avoid that. And so not only has the UK broken international law by changing the withdrawal agreement and not doing what the EU has asked them to, and not complying and not obeying the rules, now the withdrawal agreement is also kind of being changed. The government in the UK is making it very difficult for European people to live in the UK after Brexit. So, of course, there's already the visa problem is the obvious one. But under the new plans by the UK government, EU nationals might have no access to health insurance, no access to income support, and no access to many public services, which is crazy. You know, it's like, man, I really hate the current British government. Which is oh, sorry, dropped my phone. But which is terrible, you know, because lots of my friends are British. I went to university in Wales. I love the UK. I love being in there. I mean, it's very close to Ireland. The culture is also very similar. So it really pains my heart to see the current government in the UK causing all of these problems, you know? So, in saying that, I hope things can change for the better soon. You know? Tell me what you think about the UK breaking international law. You know? Yes. So the other parts of where the UK is having this huge problem with the European Union is in terms of fishing. So under previous law, under the law beforehand with Europe, there were certain areas for fishing is okay, right? I don't mean like, not like, you know, your granddad going fishing by the river. That's fine, whatever. But I mean like big ships or company ships, like going out and fishing, you know, let's say in the French Channel or in the Irish Sea or in British waters. And so the problem being that the new withdrawal agreement does not respect the fishing areas of other countries. And actually, this has been a big problem for my home country, Ireland, for a long time. So for a long time, there have been like specifically British and I think Spanish ships that have been coming up into Irish waters. Oh, let me do it on this side. This is really hard because it's backwards. I need to move my head the right way. Everything's okay. Right, so the Irish Sea is up here, in between the UK and Ireland. And so in that area, it's very difficult to really show like, oh, this is Irish Sea and this is British waters. Like, how do you maintain a border in the ocean? You know, already it was a problem, and now it seems to be that the British people in charge, the government, are saying like, oh, whatever, you know, we'll fish where we want to, we'll do what we want. In general, it seems like the British government is being very, very selfish and also just kind of a bunch of jerks, to be honest. Yeah, not very good. It's not great. And so then, next, the other problems involved. So the UK has less than 100 days to finalize its new withdrawal contract, as well as the different information around Ireland, Northern Ireland, fishing areas in the sea, and the different trade agreements, right? Oh, excuse me. And so, if they miss the 100-day deadline that's left now, and they do not have everything finalized and confirmed by the European Union in Brussels, then they will have to go through the old system for all of their trade, and that's going to be through the World Trade Organization, or like WTO. Kind of like WHO is World Health Organization, right? So WTO is the World Trade Organization. So if you have no trade deals, and if you have no, I guess like import or export history with a country, then you would go through the World Trade Organization, which is, it's fine, but it's not great. I mean, even between Ireland and Japan, there's like a really way better treaty for trade. It seems like things might be going that way. Whether the UK will fix things on time, I don't know. Okay. Subject number 2, Greece. So, like I was saying, last week we were looking at Olive Gardens using AI and sensors to give the right amount of water and pesticides and fertilizers and so forth to their crops. This time, though, instead, they are looking at different crafts from the country. So a craft is like a skill that you build up over like a long time period, right? So maybe like a traditional Japanese craft would be like when you see like them making mochi at like the shrine, and there's like the one guy who's like and he's like, like grabbing the mochi with his hands, and then there's like 3 other guys like hammering it, that's like a traditional. Do you know her? Maybe classic novelist, Joan Lingard. Oh, I don't know Joan Lingard, but there are many books about the troubles and the difficult times in Belfast. Actually, if you want to watch a really fantastic movie about Northern Ireland during those difficult times, there is a really great Irish movie called Mickey Bo and Me. So Mickey Bo and Me is a film from Northern Ireland and it's about 2 boys who are really like best friends during, I think, like the 1960s, 1970s in Belfast. And it's a fantastic movie. It's really touching, it's really moving, and it's an interesting look at the situation there. And it explains it without like focusing on specifically on the bombings so much or the violence, but it's a really great movie, and it's actually Irish. So if you want to learn about that, or you want to hear some Northern Irish accents, I would advise this movie, Mickey Bo and Me. Although there are many other great Irish films, if you would like to know about them, let me know. You're welcome, Keiko. I'll look up Joan Lingard. Maybe I'll ask my mother. Maybe she knows. Anyways, Greece. So this time it's about crafts, right? There are many different crafts that are being treated this way. So just to give an example, first off, one of the crafts that is being studied, so what they're doing is they're getting computer scientists are using like cameras to scan these people while they're doing their craft. And they're also using various types of sensors and different types of scanners and cameras and measurements, and then applying computer software to fully record these crafts and how they are done. For example, there's like this place in Greece. It's another island around Crete, I think. And what they do there is they make cheese. And the way they make it is they have a stone well, or kind of like a cave. And in this cave is where they will ferment the cheese. Because in the cave, it's usually pretty cool, it's dark, and it's also damp. So it's easy for the cheese to grow, right? Because cheese is milk that is fermented. So it's milk until it gets hard with bacteria. And bacteria grows really well in caves. So in this case, they are using all of these computer scanners not only to learn more about the craft so that they can make the craft and continue it in the future and continue to remember traditional Greek culture, but also so they can observe what is happening with these crafts. In some of these crafts, it's more important to have cameras than others. And they're using actually motion tracking on the cameras. So motion tracking means motion as in movement, tracking as in watching. So like, in like a film or movie where they have lots of special effects, they get those special effects by motion tracking. So they track parts of a person's body with cameras and with computers, and then they can track that body and put it onto a screen, like the green screen that's behind me, right? But in this case, they're taking traditional Greek crafts that have been around for actually thousands of years, I guess, for some of them. Some of these crafts, not all of them, but some of them. Among these, there's like the textiles, making textiles, dyeing, kind of like in Arimatsu, you know how they have tie-dye? This is like a different type of dyeing. So the dyeing clothes in Greece. And then there's also glass blowing. So making glass into special shapes as a craft by hand, right? And then there's also traditional Greek pottery, which definitely goes back at least 3,000 years, 4,000 years, 5,000 years? I don't know. Greek pottery goes back a long time. And then another one that they're tracking is silk weaving, which I did not know they had in Greece. Silk weaving, silk being a type of material, silk. It's very soft, it's very smooth. Traditional silk weaving in Greece is also being tracked. And so in these types of crafts, it's very important to actually record the motion of these people, because there's so much technique and so much skill that is learned over hundreds of years, thousands of years, passed down from family to family to family to family, father to son, mother to daughter. And a lot of these techniques, they can't really be taught to an outsider. So if you're like me, you've never been to Greece, you don't know how to make pottery, especially Greek pottery. If I go and I start studying with a master, there's only so much I can learn, because most of these people have learned from childhood. They're following their family footsteps. And because of that, they've been watching maybe their mother or father or brothers or sisters making this craft for so long that they don't think about it. No one tells them, hold it this way. No one tells them run your finger this way, or no one says bend the glass this way. They show them, and there's so much more information that way. And so they're using cameras and motion tracking and special AI and computer programs to track all of this information and then record it so that we can reproduce it in the future. Also, we can teach people about it better. And also, we can preserve it. So it can be put into a museum, whether that be an interactive museum or a robotic museum. But the motion tracking thing is really, really a big part. I think it's really interesting as well. You know, like how often would you really think about that? I feel like it's like when you're tying your shoelaces, right? When you tie your shoelaces, you're not thinking, like the first time you do it when you're a child, you think really hard about how to tie your shoelaces, right? You're like, oh, I do a loop and then I do another loop and then I put them together and I tie them and whatever, you know? But when you're an adult, if I tie my laces, I'm just done. You know, I don't think about it. I don't have to go through the steps like I did when I was a child. And that's actually very similar for a lot of these traditional crafts. It's sometimes hard for a teacher to tell you what to do because they just learn from doing it, you know? And so in that way, when you have a computer doing it, and a computer watching, a computer remembering, and then a computer showing it piece by piece, every single motion of the hand and the eye or the whatever, you know, then it becomes so much easier to understand as an outsider, and we can really process all the results. Okay, right. We're pretty much at the end of what's new in Europe today. I actually did also want to talk about this thing going on in Poland if I had some extra time, but we don't. So instead, if you want to, maybe you could watch Mickey Bo and Me. It's a really fantastic movie about Northern Ireland. And I think it's a good representation of Irish people, and also countryside Irish life. Yeah. Anyways, let's just go over what we talked about, summarize it one more time. So we talked about the UK and their withdrawal agreement, breaking the international law, problems with the Northern Irish border, problems with fishing zones, problems with the World Trade Organization in relation to all of that. And then on the other side, we talked about Greece, particularly Crete, how they are using computer science and sensors to record crafts. And we also talked about what those crafts were, which is glass blowing, silk weaving, traditional pottery, what else? Cheese, making cheese. That's an important one. It's one of my favorites. Anyways, that's us finished for tonight, I believe. So, thank you very much, everyone. If you can find it, you should watch Mickey Bo and Me. Might be hard to find though, because it's an Irish movie. Anyways, thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Oh, and thank you for commenting, Keiko. I always really enjoy your comments. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Bye-bye.